I'm Tony Taylor. I'm from Rosemont, Minnesota. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, but I moved to Minneapolis from New York about 10 years ago. I am a web designer. That's kind of what I do. And I'm also like a social media influencer as well. I got into rideshare. I was actually got into it part-time. I had saw it online probably right when Uber first came to the cities. But I didn't have a car that qualified at the time. So I just kind of let it go. And then when I finally bought one, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. So I was working full time at the time, and I started off part-time doing rideshare. And then I started to realize I could kind of capitalize on rideshare with what I do as a web designer and influencer online. So I quit my corporate job last year, and I went full time with rideshare. And basically, I've just been doing it almost 2 years, totally full time for the last probably year and a half. And I love doing it. On Lyft, I have about 4,000. On Uber, I have a little over 2,500. My most interesting ride is I picked up 3 people from a bar in St. Paul, and they were all pretty drunk. They jumped in the car and they said, "Hey, we got the glasses from the bar. We're cool. We took the glasses." And I was like, "Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting ride." So we get going, and the lady who ordered the ride sat in front, and the other 2 sat in the back. So over the course of the ride, it was a little wild, and she was dancing and kind of, just trying to like kind of get my attention. And then it kind of got into a little bit of getting a little touchy-feely and unclothed. And, I had to say, hey, you got to get dressed, you got to chill, settle down. If you don't, I'll end the ride, we got to go. So she didn't comply for a while, and she finally did, and we got to her location, and they get out, and I get to the next location to pick up the next passenger, and there was puke all on the back seat of my car, and I did not know it, didn't hear it, didn't smell it, didn't anything. So that was my wildest one. The biggest challenge, really, it is a grind. It's a time issue. You're putting 8 to 10 hours out on the road a day if you're a full-time driver, and it kind of wears on your body. And that, to me, is the biggest challenge, is trying to stay in a gym, make sure that you're not stopping at McDonald's and eating bad because you're kind of killing your body being in the car all day. That's pretty much my biggest, I would say, downfall to rideshare, is trying to keep in shape and keep healthy without kind of wearing yourself out, because you can very quickly. I received a $200 tip. Yeah.
What's the story?
All right. Well, the story was, it was someone who came in on a late flight after bad weather, kind of like the weather like tonight. They got in at 1 in the morning, and they wanted to go to Fargo. And the driver before me pretty much had dropped them off and said they weren't going to drive them to Fargo. And I took them to Fargo, and they were very, very grateful. And they left me a nice tip in cash. $760. That was Super Bowl, the Saturday before the Super Bowl. It snowed, everything worked out to make that the best day I've ever had in rideshare. Well, it was Lyft. Now it's Uber. I know a lot of people are on the opposite of that. It's Uber now because the new app, honestly, I love the new app, and I know a lot of people hate it. But I love it, and I love that Uber has become more transparent. Transparency is important to me, and I think that if Lyft could be a little bit more transparent, and maybe a few things that they wouldn't do anymore, such as, driver bailout, would make me a lot happier on the Lyft platform. But Uber definitely is the one for me in regards to that. And that's really solely the main reason, is the bailout stuff. The biggest one I would say is at the airport, is not knowing how to navigate the airport. I've seen, riders almost get hit by drivers not paying attention, drivers driving in the middle lane. That's the biggest rookie mistake you can make, and it's getting made on quite a bit. So, learning how to navigate the airport to me is one of the biggest things as a driver if you're going to do the airport that you need to become familiar with fast. Have an iPad on your back seat. Get referrals. My iPad has referral opportunities, not only for other, gig opportunities, but for also, like I said, I'm an online influencer. So I have referrals for different retail brands and things like that also fly by on my iPad that I get commission on when someone sees it and uses a code. That's the biggest money-making thing that you can do as a driver besides just driving, because you kind of want to get some passive income while you're doing this, or you're going to find yourself with a worn-out car and a worn-out body and you're broke. So that's my biggest tip that I could offer.